here on Newspunch. We give you the information that you need, from business to economy to politics to technology. And that's all we do here on Newspunch from the beginning. Thank you for joining us on the program today, and the program is Newspunch, coming to you live from Ben Television. My name is Today Alabi. It's been a great pleasure having you join us on the show today. Today, we are in Nigeria. I'll be taking a look at developments happening in that country. There has been quite a lot of issues from the National Assembly to the presidency and even to the issue of criminal justice system. I hear the police, their handling of the Ife crisis, the recent visit of monarch, the Oni of Ife in London. A couple of issues we'll be talking on the show today. But first, let me introduce my guest. Joining me today on my immediate right is Chief Mobolaji Falashe, the president of the Yoruba Council of Elders, UK, Europe, and America. Thank you for joining us on the program today, sir.
Good evening.
All right. And also joining us is Aftai Ogorobido, our own in-house analyst, publisher, and of course, a panel always on the show. Thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you today.
Let me quickly take you through what we'll be taking a look at on the show today. You will remember that on the 8th of March 2017, the people of Ife in Osun State woke up to a very disturbing clash that led to the death of almost 46 people. 46 people died in that communal clash between the people of Ife and the Hausa community in Ife. In the course of this clash, the Nigeria police intervened, arrested 38 people. 38 people were arrested. Eventually, on the 28th of March 2017 in Abuja, the Nigeria police paraded 20 suspects. The entire 20 suspects are said to be from one community, that is from the Yoruba Ife community in Osun State, leaving out the suspects in the other community, the Hausa community. Following that parade of the suspects by the Nigeria police in Abuja, the Yoruba elders in Nigeria rose up to condemn the attitude and partisan politics played by the Nigeria police. Very many of them claimed that parading 20 suspects, all of whom were Yoruba, in a communal clash that involved two communities, the Hausa and the Yoruba community, was not good enough, especially when a traditional ruler and Oba of the community was also paraded among the criminal suspects. And on the show today, we'll be taking a look at the position of the Nigeria police. Is there any attempt for the police to take side? Was the Nigeria police fair in their handling of the situation? Parading 20 suspects that have not been condemned, found guilty before the media, will they be legally acceptable in to the community? And also, in the course of this program, in the second half, we'll also take a look at the development at the national level in Nigeria. In the last 2 weeks, the National Assembly and the presidency have been involved in some kind of clash. First, it was Magu, the chairman of the EFCC, the acting chairman of the EFCC, who was represented to the Senate for confirmation, and whose confirmation was turned down based on the report sent by the DSS. And following that refusal of the Senate to confirm Magu, the Senate did say if the presidency did not immediately sack Magu, relieve him of his position, appoint another temporary head, they will not confirm, they will not screen and confirm the resident electoral commissioner meant to take over the different states in the country for that rec position opened for INEC officials. And the presidency has reacted that the Senate is taking this case too far, and of course are unnecessarily being a judge in its own case. And of course, we know that the SGF, the Secretary to the Federal Government of the Federation, Baba Shilawa, has also been involved in some kind of a clash with the Senate. The Senate has summoned him to appear before it. He has refused and he has declined that invitation, insisting that he will not appear before the Senate. And also another appointee of the presidency of the executive, Hamid Lawal, who is the Controller General of Customs, has also been involved in another head coalition with the Senate. The last time he appeared before the Senate, he was without his uniform and he was sent back by the Senate, who insisted that he must appear before it in his uniform. And thereafter, the Senate did say Hamid Lawal is unfit to head any public office. And also lately, the former leader of the Senate, that is the Senator Ali Indume, today was suspended for 6 months by the Senate for his involvement in unnecessarily accusing the Senate leader, the Senate President, Senator Bukola Saraki, of being involved in the importation of bulletproof Range Rover with fake documents, and also in the perjury accusation against the Nomelaye involving a certificate. Upon the sitting of the Senate Committee on Ethics and Privileges, headed by Samuel Anjeolu, it was concluded that these 2 principal officers of the Senate, Dino Melaye, of course, and the Senate President, have not done anything wrong. Subsequently, the former Senate leader, Ali Indume, was suspended from the Senate for 6 months for his action on the floor of the Senate and against the distinguished senators. On the show today, this is how the issues will be taking a look at. The phone line will be open. You can join us on the program, and welcome to the program. The program is Newspunch. My name is Tunde Alabi. Pleasure having you on the show today. Let me start the program by going to what happened in Ife on the 8th of March, leading to the death of 46 people and the destruction of millions, property worth millions of naira. Chief Mobalaji Falashe, President, Yoruba Council of Elders. What are your thoughts, sir?
My thoughts actually about the incident in Ife was that the police did not actually handle the matter properly. Parading some of the Yoruba people was quite a thing that I felt was tribalistic, especially when they took the Yoruba people from their place of origin to the capital in Abuja to parade them without any ado. There is no one that has problems without the other person being involved. The Hausa people were not paraded. There must have been something that triggered the clash or the conflict. For the police to have done what they have done, I feel strongly that that's tribalistic. That's actually taking one community, setting one community against the other. I think the perpetrators should have all been rounded up and actually shown to the public. And it is actually my feeling that the clash was not tribalistic and it was not based on religious matters. That is why the governor of Osun State has actually set up an inquiry. He's appointed some people to look into what really triggered the problem. Until we know what actually started the whole problem, I think the police have actually not acted in good faith.
But do the police not have the power to arrest possible culpable accomplices and suspects in any crime. The power which they have, they used, paraded the suspect. Even some have actually said parading people that have not been convicted, found guilty by a competent court of law is actually illegal. However, the police have actually, within their jurisdiction, found some people to be culpable in the act and they paraded them. One will wonder whether the people paraded at high houses in Yoruba, one wonder why there have been so much cries from the Yoruba elders within the Southwest.
Yes, you see, the police have actually paraded themselves as the judge and jury. Until you find somebody guilty, you cannot actually arrest that person. You can interrogate them, which they have done, but they kept some of them, including an Oba, a traditional ruler, was actually taken off to be paraded as one of the suspects. I found that very, very much a thing that shouldn't have happened. The police should really have interviewed and set the people free in 24 hours.
Fatai.
Actually, it's really unfortunate the way Nigeria is operating today. I think, first of all, let me point to you that for the federal level of police to intervene into this affair is a sort of usurpation of power, because the governor is there. It is his responsibility.
But the state does not have a state police, so obviously the power of intervention.
Why is it that we have security budget for the states every month? When there are crises everywhere, in every state, it is the function of the governor to make sure that such crises are suppressed and to make sure that either panel are set up to investigate, then on invitation, at least bring in the police to be able to put the house in order. So for the from federal level, you know, for policemen to be sent to Ife to come and arrest Yorubas, it has sent another message.
According to the police report, the people arrested included even people suspected to have been culpable in that crime, including our members of the Hausa community. But the problem there was the people paraded. 38 people were arrested, including members of the Hausa community, but 20 people paraded, and they were basically Yorubas. And that was where the grouse against the police came from.
Let me ask something to you. You know, already there is a reservation about how the herdsmen issue have been handled in Nigeria. So the generator of Nigerian Sound now are think that, was it Buhari that they voted for, or did they vote for a government of the North? This is the issue now. Even those who loved Buhari so dearly, who are ready to die for Buhari now, they are now having, you know, at the back of their mind now, if they hadn't taken a very big, you know, sort of gamble that they are paying seriously for now. Now, everything is pointing to the fact that we are now being humiliated both in the Southwest and it's in the South. That is where things are working out. And a seed is being sown now, whereby there is going to be a future crisis, the tribal crisis in Nigeria. Because imagine during the time of Obasanjo as the president of Nigeria, if situation has arisen whereby there is a clash between Yoruba and Hausa, and Obasanjo now sent, those who are acting, not really Buhari, you know, they're acting on behalf of Buhari. No, Buhari may not even know about all this. But the high service that our security engage themselves in is what is bringing us to this level. And it is too risky. If the presidency is not interfering to this matter to make sure that they curtail any future problem, let me tell you, we are sitting on the keg of gunpowder in Nigeria.
But I mean, the quick intervention of the Nigeria police actually brought that crisis to almost a quick stop, although not quick enough. 40 people died in the course of that incident. But shouldn't we actually applaud the police for their quick intervention? Why are people from the South? From
what I gathered, even the police were not able to handle the matter until the only got there and called, you know, for a ceasefire. So
the ONI was already in London already by the time.
No. As at the time it started, the ONI was in Nigeria. As at the time it started. And it was the intervention of ONI because he drove there personally to go and say, please, my people, we are a loving people. We accommodate everybody. We are, in the entire world, we are known to be very, very accommodating, and we are known to be generous. Please don't soil the image of the Yorubas. And immediately they all down-tooled. And so you can see that on its own shows the much respect that we have for the authority. It shows the respect that we have for other tribes. It happened, people died, yes, but something led to another. And right now, where we are now, the current government is sowing a seed of discord among the Nigerians, and the consequential result of that may be more daring.
Well, one of the things that I actually feel is that the Yorubas are being mistreated in the present day in Nigeria. We have never had any reason to see Yorubas live in other parts of the country. We have never gone to any community to disturb their community. When people come to live in Yoruba land, we accommodate them. And that is one of the things that I was actually particularly mindset of, because Yoruba people have lived with the Hausa people for years. And so they have also lived with us for a number of years in the north. The trouble that started in Ife must have been caused by one or two people that exploded into a larger communal problem. What we need to do is actually, we've had a problem like that in Shagamu in the past. What we have done, or what the Shagamites have done, is to actually sit down with the Hausa people, and they have been integrated in Shagamu town. And when the KBC was here, I did have the opportunity to discuss the crisis, but I can assure you his intervention actually tried to quell the problem we had in Ife.
Fatai, another criticism against the Nigerian police and the Nigerian government is that when the Fulani herdsmen killed people in Benue, till today nobody has been arrested, nobody has been paraded. When the Fulani herdsmen killed people in southern Kaduna, nobody was arrested, nobody has been paraded. And then the Nigerian police and the government came under huge criticism by some people that why should the government now arrest people when others now kill Hausa Fulani people?
Thank you. Today, this is
would that be a justified analysis and comparison?
That brings me back to my earlier, take that. I mean, put your mind back and imagine those who live in southern Kaduna. They are mostly people. It's more populated from people from the southern and from the middle belt area, and you can see we are sending a message to the entire Nigerians that we are having in place now a one-sided government. Even we see the constitution of the government on its own. The first signal that was sent to all Nigerians was that the government wouldn't have any time for anybody else except the so-called old Kiba that has enveloped the destiny of Nigeria. And you can see everybody now within the presidency, they are in charge of this government. Even, I can assure you, everything happening within the government, nobody, many of the people who are very close, they don't even know, because it's government, the Keba, they are in control. And whatever instruction they are given is what the security or people are following. So if that has happened, you can imagine the danger that we are sitting on. If in Nigeria today, we are perceiving that the presidency controls the security to benefit its own people, its own tribe, definitely Nigeria is on the edge of a serious
All right, let me quickly
crisis.
invite our viewers to join us in the program so that it doesn't look like my guests are the one taking it out all on the presidency. You can join us on the program. The number to call is going to be put on the screen. Let us have your opinion. What do you think about what we're discussing? Do you think the police has done a good job? Do you think the police has been impartial or has been partial? Do you think whatever spirited effort the police deployed to quelling, arresting, and parading the perpetrators of the Ife crisis should have been deployed to dealing with the southern Kaduna crisis and, of course, Benue crisis in Nigeria? Join us on the program. Let us have your opinion, and the number to call is going to be put on the screen. Why? Okay, Otumba, quickly. would we say Nigeria as it stands today is for all, or the policies of the government, the actions of the government is not one-sided?
I've actually not seen Nigeria as a nation anymore, because these divisions amongst communities and the division amongst the states are actually one of the reasons why we have the problems all over Nigeria now. I think it's high time Nigeria actually stand up and challenge the presidency about some of the things that is happening all over the country. You've talked about the headsmen. The headsmen are all over the place. We Yoruba people are law-abiding citizens. We don't go to other communities to fight them. We don't do things that are not liked by other communities. Why should they come to our own land to actually cause problems? I mean, I've never been an advocate of the states. As when I was young, Nigeria got independent as regions, and it worked. So I think I wrote an article once, and I said, to your tent, O Israel. For me, I think we should go back to the regions and stop all this Nigeria, one Nigeria, because the federalism is actually not working. We should look back and see how we can make Nigeria work if we have to be one nation. Nigeria worked before independence, and it can work if we go back to the table and rethink about what we were before, how things worked. I mean, I can't see myself working very hard, and my tax is actually used for the communities that are not working hard. That is why we had the problems in the Delta, and that's the resources is from them, and the resources is being used by communities that are not producing enough wealth into Nigeria. I think that's my take on that.
So by implication now you say you will subscribe to the suggestion that there should be kind of a restructuring in Nigeria.
Yes, I do think so. We should restructure Nigeria and let Nigeria work. I mean, that's why the administrative cost alone is enormous. I mean, if we have 36 states, we have 36 governors, we have 36 commissioners. Why don't we have regions as we had before? And we had a vision for each region, and it worked. And we were living in harmony. And I think that is why we should go back to the drawing table and see how Nigeria would actually work in future.
Fatai, in reality, I mean, that Nigeria has democracy is quite enough of good news for Nigeria. And one will actually say that it's a good time for Nigeria, but one wonders why a few people are saying things are not still working.
I think...
Can we get it right at a goal like that?
Right from the onset, Nigeria is a fake country. There has never been... We are united in diversity. And then when you look back into history, you will know that some military guys who actually fought towards the end of the Civil War, they've been in control of our nation since the end of the war. If you look back into history, we are talking of Abacha, Abdul Salam, we are talking of Baba Obasanjo, we are talking of Babangida. Look deep into, now go back, take your mind back to the reason why even Papa Obasanjo was brought from prison. You can see we've never left that circle. These are the reasons why we are stagnated. And when you look back into history, the only person that has meant well for that nation since the civil war ended has always been OBJ, because he laid down a structure in Nigeria, tried to create a system whereby we can undo corruption, tried to use his elder statesmanship to make sure that things are brought back into normality. But what happened immediately after he left? So you now start to wonder why the governors, even though they were trying to blackmail Obasanjo that he was the one craving for the third term, why the governors got together and said, let this man continue the way he was continuing. It was the work of the governors, not really particularly Obasanjo, because we read that. And Obasanjo himself has said that several times. He wasn't actually the one making the move. So you can now see that we have been derailed right from the time of the end of the Civil War. And it's like we are being fashioned to be the bread basket of the entire world. If Nigerians are spread across the world, developing every nation of the world, see, out of nothingness, the youth came together. They created one of the most recognized movie industry in the entire world. They created one of the most recognized musical feat in the entire world, and then go every part of this world. Medical, in medicine, in accountancy, in law. You see Nigerians everywhere. And yet inside Nigeria, and people who troop onto all these other countries, they are always spillovers. The real talents are in Nigeria. And you ask yourself, why are Nigerians not getting it right politically? So something is wrong somewhere. We are under serious undermining. And Nigerians are still sitting down there. They are watching as if they are not concerned. Imagine if everybody is empowered in Nigeria with power supply of water, and all the infrastructure are developed. And every engineer happens to hold on to his own duty as professionals. Imagine if a mechanic has a workshop that is functioning properly. If every engineer, electrical engineers, you can imagine that no economy in the world will beat Nigeria. Because despite the fact that we are made to be self-sufficient personally, we create our own infrastructure, we build our own life based on our own understanding and our hard work, providing electricity for ourselves, water for ourselves, you can now see that when we have a very good tax system, coupled with the resources that Nigeria has today, let me tell you, no country, because when we are talking about hard work, Nigerians are very hardworking. This country, Nigerians are so well respected. Go to America, everywhere we are not abiding. We are hard. We are very in the early 90s, when we were, actually adjusting ourselves in this country, there was this erroneous, sort of impression within even the police here. When a burglary happens and they go to round people up, later they started to understand that, Nigerians have got a different lifestyle. When it's burglary, you will never see Nigerians there. So during that period of time, when the police were now looking for somebody who burgled a house, when they say Nigerian, they wouldn't even look, because they know that it is all Nigerian. There are other areas when they will say, okay, let's interrogate him. So you can see, we have vision about how we want our life to be better. That's why you see Nigeria. Who wants to live in America? All Nigerians wants to live in this country. We are very proud. We have culture. We have background. We retain our family. We try to cover our family name as people who are well cultured in Nigeria. We know where we started from, but somewhere along the line, everything just went wrong because some people have hijacked the nature of our existence. They've hijacked our destiny. And right now, Nigerians, we're just sat down there, just watching. We can't even protest. Imagine a situation whereby a senator is having over almost 600 billion worth of car in a nation where no roads, no, you can imagine our president being treated with over $32 million. It's a disgraceful statement to be had. When we have no hospital, so we are a fake nation. We can't make, with the way we are, we can never make a headway. We can't make a headway.
But things work before the creation of states. Like I said, I think we should go back to the drawing board and sit down.
Even as it is now, so many people would disagree with your postulation that the country is a fake nation, because that country you've just described has actually produced world champions in different areas of life.
That's on individual efforts, not on government support or sponsorship or presentation of enablement of atmosphere to create those people.
The reason why Nigerians are excelling outside Nigeria is because they have seized the opportunity to excel in whatever profession they are in.
Individually, yes.
Individually, because the system that they live in is not corrupt. I mean, my friend Fatai just said that senators or politicians have expensive cars, they live luxury life, and yet the constituents that they represent are actually suffering,
in poverty,
which is actually a shame, because one of the things that is causing that is because they are overpaying themselves, and also they're stealing money. I see MPs in this country on trains. I see people in the Western world doing things for themselves. The last time I saw Obama, the former president of America, buying things in a bookshop. We don't do that. We actually, in Nigeria, we think money is everything. The creation of another class system is about people having the money. So what we need to do is actually to sit down and have the national conference they had the last time, I think, was a shame, because they haven't actually tackled the important thing about the emergence of that nation.
What would you be suggesting as the president of the Yoruba Council of Elders, UK, Europe, and America?
What I would suggest is that we go back to where we were before independence, before the civil war, where we had.
How would you suggest?
Where we had regions. Even if we felt that the regions didn't work, the 6 geopolitical zone can work better, because we won't be spending a fortune with the number of states we have. We are paid too much on administration in that nation. And that is why, and then there is no accountability. There is no society that want to progress without people having to be able to tell the nation or the people they represent, this is how much we have spent this year, this is our income and expenditure. It doesn't happen in Nigeria.
All right, we've been talking about the development in Ife and the role played by the Nigerian police over that incident. Joined today has been Bolaji Falashe Tumba, president of the Yoruba Council of Elders, and of course, announcer, analyst Fatai Ogunubido, publisher, EM News. We'll go on a very short break now. When we come back, we'll be taking a look at the National Assembly and the presidency. How long will this fight continue? Don't go away. Business to economy, to politics, to technology. And that's all we do here on Newspunch. From the beginning to the end. And that is why we are here. Keep watching Newspunch.
Politics with KO is back.
Tune in to Talk Time,
Mondays at 9 p.m.
the social, political and cultural news show
that puts your issues first.
Don't miss out.
All right, we'll come back from that short break. Now, let's quickly take a look at the squabble between the National Assembly, especially the Senate and the presidency. The rejection of Magu, the insistence of the Senate that Magu should be dropped. If not, they will not consider the screening and the confirmation of the resident electoral commissioner presented by the presidency. The refusal of the secretary to the government of the Federation, Babashi Lawa, in appearing before the Senate, and of course the refusal of Amid Lawa, the Controller General of the Customs Service, in wearing the customs uniform to appear before the Senate, and the Senate declaring him unfit for public office. And the recent scandal, well, the recent issues involving the Senate, i.e. the importation of bulletproof Range Rover with fake documents, and of course the certificate issue involving Dino Melaye. He, of course, is trying to wiggle himself out of that crisis, and the suspension of Ali Ndume, who actually brought all this to the floor of the Senate for trying to bring the Senate to distribute. He's been suspended for 6 months now by the Senate. This is what we'll be taking a look on the show. Again, the phone number you can call is on the screen. Join us in the discussion. For that, let me start with you. As it stands, will this presidency yield to the Senate on the issue of Magu?
Well, you know that the way Nigeria operates, too many power bases confronting each other. So, and when you look at the power tussle happening currently, you will know that the interest of each section of these pockets of associations are actually, you know, protecting their own interest individually. We understand Saraki has got his own clique. The presidency, they are protecting certain interests. Individual interests are actually coming together, and I can assure you, I haven't seen anything yet, because you are going to be seeing recriminations, people taking vengeance, so it has just started. Can I ask you, is this what Nigeria should be discussing at this hour, when people on the street are starving? We are talking about expensive cars, billions of worth of naira of bulletproof. It stinks. Part also between the presidency and the Senate, it stinks. Now you can foresee a preparation now for 2019, when nothing has even been done from the election of 2015. So all the strategies, they are finding a way to strategize on how to take the glory towards 2019. Whereas this government has not been pained into any particular achievement since it has come into power.
But the government has been voted very well in the area of fighting corruption.
The government has been voted.
I mean, so many money are
because so much lies are being told to convince Nigerians that they are working. Obasanjo fought corruption. Jonathan fought corruption. We saw everything they did. Even let me take you back. Within 7 months of Jonathan being sworn in, that was far back to May 2011. By February 2012, you can remember that we were having the report of the House Committee on, that was the time we knew about oil subsidy, that it was even crucial to every individual. That because prior to that period of time, we don't really understand, we only hear about it, we don't really know how concerned we should be. You remember the bastardization of the foreign exchange, the capital market. You can imagine, if you cast your mind back, you understand a lot of things came through the investigation that was being carried out.
But again, that administration has been labeled as one of the most corrupt.
This is the problem. They labeled it on what ground?
Has been one of the most corrupt in the history.
Oh well, blackmail, 2.1 billion. Let me explain that to you.
Let me put your
security vote. They said, and they said it was aimed at fighting Boko Haram. Have we ever had EFCC saying that the 2.1 billion was meant for Boko Haram fight? That's number one. Number two, it is in history that even when Boko Haram struck in Nigeria and the military were trying to face them headlong, they got to the Nigerian armory, nothing was there. Imagine if there would be an infiltration from Cameroon supported by their masters, the same way we were threatened with Bakassi, and they wanted to create another war, which was actually with the other statesmanship handled. Imagine if that has to be happen. Are we now going to be procuring ammunition when already we are being invaded? So what really happened was that during that period of time, the state, they do have their own security votes. Any government in power will try whatever it will do to make sure that it holds on to power if election is coming. APC was being formed, getting so much ground with all sorts of things, blackmails and that. And toward that period of time, the federal government had to fight back. getting this money, security vote, distributing for local government leaders,
But
hold on.
would that be justified?
No, it's not justified, but I'm trying to let me
let me put your hold. Let me put your hold there. Let me come to
the question you were asking about the Senate
Yes.
and the presidency. It simply is that the senators are actually a bunch of people that are actually not doing our country justice.
Would we blame the senators?
reason
Or
being-
we should blame the presidency? An agency of the presidency wrote a report against a nominee of the presidency without the knowledge of the presidency and Mr. President himself. So who do we blame in this?
Well, I would they should have.
I mean, the DSS and EFCC are both agencies of the
presidency and the Senate should have actually done their homework
It's not power
before they got into that position. Having said that, the senators themselves are possibly trying to make an issue of the man who's actually been exposing them. Magu has actually been exposing a lot of them, and they're not happy with him.
Exactly.
One of the things that...
But if
one of
the
the things-
DSS had not written a report, if the entire presidency and executive had filed behind Magu, the Senate wouldn't have, they might grumble, but they will still approve it. But when an arm of the presidency responsible for writing security reports now indicted a nominee of the presidency,
And I did say that the presidency
and all of
and
them
the
are
Senate should have
meant to
done their work.
report to the presidency.
I did say that the Senate and the presidency should have done their homework, which they didn't do. But having said that, one of the things that I like the Western world for, especially a place like we live in Britain, if that is one of the issues, if things are written against you, you would resign if it's the truth. But if it's not, you resign honorably if it's the truth. But if it's not, I don't see the reason why the president will not stand firm with his nominee. So, but if Magu has been found not to be fit for that position, we have millions of Nigerians. The presidency should find an alternative.
Shouldn't this report that is being used by the DSS, and of course you remember that the DSS and the SGF, Babashilawa, they have been on the neck of Magu. Shouldn't the DSS submit this report to Mr. President to say, Mr. President, this is our position, security report about this candidate you're sending for confirmation? Shouldn't the DSS have done that? Should not the president have asked, as a matter of interest, to say, this is my
Today, I've explained this earlier on. That's why I didn't want to overbeat it. We have so many power plays. You see, they are all protected. There are certain interests being protected. How are we sure that there is no connection between DSS and the Senate? How are we sure that there is no... We know how Nigeria operates. As long as the bidding is good, I will do it for you. The Senate, the DSS, presidency. So this is a triangular sort of... So something is happening that we as ordinary people will not be able to understand. There is power play going on. So if there are people...
Is this power play in the best interest of Nigeria at all?
This is the reason why Nigeria has been put down as a nation on a fake ground. So we can never get anything right unless we go into restructuring. Nigeria, let me tell you, look back, we are 57, is it 57 years this year? Look back, what have we achieved in the past 57 years as a country? We cannot boast of manufacturing even a bike. We cannot sell anything to the African continent as a country. We cannot say that we have a brand that we can sell to the world, except the youth that have tried ads on Nollywood, on music, to make sure that... But when we are talking about the governmental discharge, what have we offered I mean, different type of universities in Nigeria? What have we created to sell to the world?
We actually don't even understand the presidential system of government.
The essence of government, we don't even know.
Let alone say that one of the things you said was that why did DSS tell the presidency, or why did they actually speak to themselves before it came into the open? One of the reasons is because we in Nigeria have a problem, and that is we don't understand governance. until we understand governance, then we can now sit down and govern properly. The people that are in Senate and the presidency at the moment should actually work together to make the system work. We are actually fighting for our own pockets.
Personal interests.
Our personal interests, yeah, as you said. That is a shame for the nation, because it's not the presidency or the Senate suffering, but the people. We have a lot of issues that Fatai actually had mentioned earlier about electricity and so forth. But we are not even talking about that. We are talking about
expensive
cars. We are talking about
tussle between presidency and Senate.
Just nominating one or two people into government.
Distractions.
Those are distractions. We need to actually sit down and govern properly.
Fatai, if you review what is going on between the Senate and, of course, one or two officials of the presidency, i.e. Babashi, the SGF, who has been called to appear before the Senate over the contract award of the presidential initiative on the IDP. He's refused to appear, and also the Controller General of Customs, the Controller General of Customs, who have been asked to put on the uniform of the custom board, has refused to do that. Would you say that these two are justified, i.e. the refusal of the Controller General to put on his uniform, Ahmed Ali, and of course the refusal of Babashilawa to appear before the Senate? Are these people justified?
Well, I'm quite very much convinced that you understand better the way Nigeria works. For instance, these people are coming to serve Nigeria as a nation. You have been hooked to an institution that should be respected. Internationally acclaimed, respected institution. I'm talking in terms of the customs boss. Why wouldn't you want to put on your uniform to actually sell that uniform to the world as a proud customs boss? It is an act of contempt for him to have refused to even kowtow to what the Senate had ordered him to do, because they represent the voice of the people. Let's forget about the politics among them and all the disgrace they are bringing to the nation with bad governance. Let's talk about discipline now. You are the customs boss, and you are being asked to if not because Nigeria is not a real nation, why would a custom boss even argue with the Senate, ordering? Imagine if American Senate orders even the president to appear before him. Do you understand what will happen when such president doesn't even work to the time he's been asked to arrive? Talk less of Nigeria, where the Senate is ordering a customs board to appear before it, and he had the effrontery to be arguing and to be insulting them that he wasn't banned to do that. It goes to show that the position is being asked to do is not actually being loyal to the nation. It's being patriotic to the nation. That is the meaning. So the same thing goes.
I will sum it up in one word: is indiscipline.
Indiscipline on the part of the Senate,
on the part
or
of
the part of Ahmed Ali.
Ahmed Ali. In any country,
Disrespectful of the authority.
You are asked to do something, especially I will use the community we live in. Imagine the head of Scotland Yard is told to come to Parliament, and is ordered to come to Parliament in his uniform. If he doesn't obey the Parliament, then that person will be removed instantly. It's sheer indiscipline. And one of the things that we lack in Nigeria is that we are not disciplined people. It's actually, you even common with Nigerians in Britain. We are not disciplined at all. Most of Nigerians that are disciplined are our children. You can see the way our children live is actually different from us, because they've inculcated that discipline from the time they were born. We need to change things in Nigeria. Our leaders need to lead by example. I mean, if he, the head of custom, tells a junior officer to wear his uniform. If that junior officer refuses, what will he do?
Exactly.
So
All right, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure having you join us on the show today. It's been a very great time to have you, Fatai Ogunrubedo, as usual, on the program. Thank you for taking your time to join us on the show. And Otman Bolaji Falashe, President, Yoruba Council of Elders, thank you for joining us on the show today. And our viewers at home, thank you for taking your time to be part of the program. Hope you did enjoy the program. Wherever you are, let's contribute our quotas to the growth and the development of Nigeria. It doesn't matter what passport we carry. We still have the African Nigerian blood flowing in us. It's a pleasure to have you join me on the program today. Again, my name is Tunde Alapi. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye.
Good night.
It's time to own your own properties at any of these cities: Abeokuta, Isheri, Opek, Abuja, Sam Nujoma and Orozo, Lagos, Lekki, Port Harcourt, TAF Gardens. Keywright with major developers and state agencies can make your dream come true. Property and flats start from just £25,000. We can also provide you with property exchange. For more information, please visit www.keywright.co.uk.